Good afternoon, Cross Timbers. Today is Monday, June 17th, 2013. This is Texan TV News, brought to you by the Texan News Service from the Tarleton State University campus in Stephenville, Texas, and I'm Ian Troub. In today's headlines, Tarleton's rodeo teams placed third in this year's College National Finals rodeo. Hood County cancer survivor dies in a rollover accident on 8/20. Dallas Police Association recovered their stolen property. Drought-stricken regions further dried up by oil industry's hydraulic fracking. South African hero and Nobel Peace Prize laureate Nelson Mandela's family expresses gratitude for the world's influx of support to them during his hospital stay. Johnny Manziel tweets a thought-provoking statement to his over 350,000 followers. The San Antonio Spurs take a 3-2 lead in the NBA Finals, as well as today's weather forecast from weatherchannel.com. And now for today's top story. In campus news, according to Tarleton.edu, Tarleton men's and women's teams both captured third place at this year's College National Finals rodeo, while Billy Bob Brown earned the national title in team roping in this year's All-Around Cowboy Award following the 65th annual event known as the Rose Bowl of College Rodeo, held June 5th through 16th in Casper, Wyoming. The women's team, comprised of Caitlin Anthony, Cassidy Boggs, Kinder Starr, and Katie Tu, collected 435 points to finish in third place among 36 teams behind this year's national champion Idaho State University and runners-up Northeastern Junior College. Tarleton's men's team, made up of Brown, Richmond champion Reese Reamer, Jake Self, Clayton Shaw, Tim Sparing, and Chase Williams, also finished in third place among 58 teams with 735 points behind Panhandle State University and College of Southern Idaho. This year's appearance at the CNFR comes after Tarleton's men's and women's teams captured the 2012-2013 National Intercollegiate Rodeo Association Southwest Region titles. Tarleton's Cowboys won the region with 5,845 points, while the Cowgirls collected 2,730 points. In regional news, the Hood County News reports that Hood County resident Stephen Douglas Doug Maples, who died Tuesday at age 42 as a result of a one-vehicle rollover accident in Fort Worth, was a cancer survivor who had unusually wide variety of skills and interests ranging from computer skills to writing to working with the jail ministry. Doug was a 1988 graduate of Cleburne High School, where he was an A-plus student. He earned a master's degree in communication at UTA, where he spent time as a disc jockey for the campus radio station. Maples' father, Steve Maples of Cleburne, said a motorist who had been behind Doug's vehicle saw it gradually veer off the road and suspected he may have either fallen asleep or had a heart attack. It occurred at about 6 a.m. on Northeast Loop 820 as Doug was driving to work. Steve Boston, a supervisor at American International Group Incorporated in Fort Worth, where Maples worked in technology support for the help desk for about the last year, said he was a treasured employee and he found a way to smile even when times were tough. He would find a way to smile and make his colleagues smile. I was blessed to have known him. Maples said his son had been diagnosed with leukemia and was told by doctors he might not live beyond age 20. 2 or 3 doctors gave him different times to live, his father said, but Doug proved the predictions incorrect after enduring chemotherapy, radiation treatments, and a cultured bone marrow transplant, according to his father. His cancer went into remission in 2006. Mr. Maples said he enjoyed going hunting and fishing with his son, who was concerned about preserving the environment and loved trees, birds, and wildlife. Doug had written one book, called A Long Green Journey, about putting together a cabin on his property in the Oak Trail Shores subdivision of Northwest Granbury. It was published a couple of years ago by Outskirts Press, Mr. Maples said. His son had started writing a second book, his father said, which was probably going to be a continuation of the first one. As a freelance writer, Doug wrote numerous magazine and newspaper articles about Ann Richards during her campaign for the governorship of Texas. He also followed the now deceased singing star Selena and had several stories about her published during her career. Doug previously worked in a jail ministry in Johnson County through Cleburne's Eastern Heights Church, where he was a member. Most any conversation he would bring in the Bible, the Word of God, his father said. In state news, according to the Associated Press, a massive $10,000 meat smoker stolen from the Dallas Police Association has been recovered after police say a drug dealer paid 2 thieves to steal it for $75 worth of drugs. The Dallas Morning News reported 2 men were arrested Sunday after the smoker was found near a house known for drug activity. The Dallas Police Association's custom-made smoker, used at fundraisers and other law enforcement events, was stolen Friday night. Surveillance videos show thieves who cut a chain on a security fence, hooking a pickup truck to the smoker's trailer and driving away. Patrol officers Sunday spotted the suspected truck and arrested 2 men, and charges are pending. The Dallas Police Association Vice President Fred Frazier says investigators believe a drug dealer paid thieves in drugs to steal the specialty smoker so it could be sold to a barbecue joint. In national news, the latest domestic energy boom is sweeping through some of the nation's driest pockets, drawing millions of gallons of water to unlock oil and gas reserves from beneath the Earth's surface. Hydraulic fracturing, or the drilling technique commonly known as fracking, has been used for decades to blast huge volumes of water, fine sand, and chemicals into the ground to crack open valuable shale formations. But now, as energy companies vie to exploit vast resources west of the Mississippi, fracking's new frontier is expanding to the same lands where crops have shriveled and waterways have dried up due to severe drought. In Arkansas, Colorado, New Mexico, Oklahoma, Texas, Utah, and Wyoming, the vast majority of the counties where fracking is occurring are also suffering from drought, according to an Associated Press analysis of industry-compiled fracking data in the U.S. Department of Agriculture's official drought designations. While fracking typically consumes less water than farming or residential uses, the exploration method is increasing competition for the precious resource, driving up the price of water and burdening already depleted aquifers and rivers in certain drought-stricken stretches. Some farmers and city leaders worry that the fracking boom is consuming too much of a scarce resource, while others see the push for the production as an opportunity to make money by selling the water while furthering the nation's goal of energy dependence. In South Texas, where a drought has forced cotton farmers to scale back, local water officials said drillers are contributing to a drop in the water table in several areas. For example, as much as 15,000 acre-feet of water are drawn each year from the Carrizo-Wilcox Aquifer to frack wells in the southern half of the Eagle Ford Shale, one of the nation's most profitable oil and gas fields. That's equal to about half of the water recharged annually into the southern portion of the aquifer, which spans 5 counties that are home to about 330,000 people, said Ron Green, a scientist with the nonprofit Southwest Research Institute in San Antonio. When you have a big problem like the drought and you add other small problems to it like all the fracking, then it only makes things worse, said Ed Walker, general manager of the Winter Garden Groundwater Conservation District. The amount of water needed to hydraulically fracture a well varies greatly depending on how hard it is to extract oil and gas from each geological formation. In Texas, the average well requires up to 6 million gallons of water, while in California each well requires 80 to 300,000 gallons, according to estimates by government and trade associations. We don't want to look up 20 years from now and say, oops, we used up all our water, said Jason Baines of the Boulder, Colorado-based Western Resource Advocates. In Ventura County, at the southern tip of the Monterey Shale and an hour north of Los Angeles, drought-induced pressures on local water systems are already visible. One local water district predicts some groundwater wells will go dry by summer. In international news, messages of love have come from across South Africa and the world in the form of tweets, songs, telephone calls, cards, and more for 94-year-old Nelson Mandela, giving the family comfort and hope as he remains hospitalized in serious condition with a lung infection, his wife said Monday. As the anti-apartheid hero spent a 10th day in the hospital, Graca Machel expressed the family's gratitude for the support from South Africans, Africans across the continent, and thousands more from across the world, to lighten the burden of anxiety, bringing us love, comfort, and hope. Machel has already experienced the loss of a husband. Mozambican President Samora Machel, her first husband, died in a plane crash in 1986. Machel and Mandela married in 1998, marking Mandela's third marriage and her second. People have carried Get Well Soon placards outside the Mediclinic Heart Hospital in Pretoria where Mandela is being treated. They have prayed for him in churches across this nation of roughly 50 million. School children have come to his home in Johannesburg to sing. Even though he was not there to hear them, the voices gave solace to his family. The messages have come by letter, by SMS, by phone, by Twitter, by Facebook, by email, cards, flowers, and the human voice, in particular the voices of children in schools or singing outside our home, Michelle said in a statement. We have felt the closeness of the world and the deepest meaning of strength and peace. President Jacob Zuma said Sunday that Mandela remains in serious condition, but that his doctors are seeing sustained improvements. Zuma said Mandela is engaging with family during visits. The leader of South Africa's anti-apartheid movement, Mandela spent 27 years in prison during white racist rule. He is vulnerable to respiratory problems since contracting tuberculosis during his long imprisonment. The bulk of that period was spent on Robben Island off the coast of Cape Town, where Mandela and other prisoners toiled in a dusty stone quarry. He was freed in 1990 and became South Africa's first black president in 1994. The Nobel Peace Prize laureate divorced his second wife, Winnie, in 1996. However, in recent years, she has joined him and Michelle at family events. Winnie Madikizela Mandela has been a frequent visitor to Mandela during his latest hospitalization. This marks Mandela's fourth hospital stay since December. Mandela once said, "What counts in life is not the mere fact that we have lived, it is what difference we have made in the lives of others," Michelle said. I have thought of his words on each occasion the world stood with him, making a difference to him in his healing. In sports, according to the Associated Press, Heisman Trophy winner Johnny Manziel still has 3 years of eligibility left at Texas A&M, but a tweet he sent out early Sunday morning has some wondering how long he'll stay. Starting the tweet with an expletive, Manziel said, "Stuff like tonight is why I can't wait to leave College Station, whenever it may be." The comment went out to Manziel's more than 350,000 followers from his verified account before it was deleted almost immediately. He soon followed with another tweet saying, "Don't ever forget that I love A&M with all of my heart, but please walk a day in my shoes." The quarterback led the Aggies to a win over the eventual national champions of Alabama last season and became the first freshman in NCAA history to win the Heisman. A Texas A&M spokesman says that he does not expect a statement from the Manziel family or the university on the matter. Also in sports news, the San Antonio Spurs take a 3-2 advantage in the best-of-7 NBA Finals as, according to the Associated Press, Ginobili broke out of a slump in a big way with 24 points and 10 assists in his first start of the season, and the Spurs beat the Heat 114-104 on Sunday night. Tony Parker scored 26 points, Tim Duncan had 17 points and 12 rebounds, and Ginobili had his highest scoring game of the season as the Spurs became the first team to shoot 60% in a finals game in over 4 years. Danny Green smashed the NBA Finals record for three-pointers with 6 more and scored 24 points. Kawhi Leonard finished with 16, but the stage was set when Ginobili trotted out with Duncan, Parker, and the rest of starters in what could have been the last Finals home game for a trio that's meant so much to San Antonio. The AT&T Center crowd roared when Ginobili was the last Spurs player announced and chanted his name in the second half, a familiar sight and sound in San Antonio, but not during what had been a miserable series for the former Sixth Man of the Year. He's obviously very popular. He's been here a long time. He's helped us have a lot of success over the years, Spurs coach Greg Popovich said. LeBron James and Dwayne Wade each scored 25 points for the Heat, who host Game 6 on Tuesday. They need a victory to force the first Game 7 in the finals since the Lakers beat the Celtics in 2010. Miami's Big Three formed a few weeks after that very game, with predictions of multiple titles to follow. Now they're a loss away from going just 1 for 3 in finals to start their partnership, while the Spurs could run their perfect record to 5 for 5. In weather, today's forecast calls for partly cloudy skies and a high of 80 degrees with a low of 66 and a 30% chance of precipitation. Today's broadcast was produced by Kaylee Bedingfield. This has been a production of Texan TV News brought to you by the Texan News Service. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter for all of the latest, up-to-date news from around the Cross Timbers region, and check out our website at www.texannews.net. I'm Ian Troub, reminding you as always, bleed purple, stay classy, my friends.